Welcome everybody to another Eqafe Google Hangout. Tonight we will be discussing the Eqafe Hangout, our Eqafe interview, the consequences of deceiving self-honesty. And this is in the Life Review series on the Eqafe site, eqafe.com. Today we have a guest with us. His name is Guillen Roberts and he's from South Africa. Welcome, Guillen.
Hi, Garb, and welcome everyone else.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks.
And just to recap a little bit on what Eqafe is, I usually do this in the beginning of the Hangouts just for the newcomers that come to our Hangouts. It's a website that has a plethora of interviews on all different topics in relation to human history, human behavior, the mind, psychology, animals, all different aspects of life. And it's educational, so it's to support you in different issues or concerns or curiosities you have about these topics. It's definitely a site to investigate for yourself and just kind of check it out and see what's there so you can find out for yourself. So this is one specific interview we're discussing. There's probably over a couple thousand on the website now. And it's through the portal, which is Sunet Spy. She's an interdimensional portal. I have done a hangout with her about a year ago on what she's about, who she is, some information on her, and that I've linked to the comment section or the description section of the hangout, so you can check that out if you want to understand more about her. So yeah, we're just going to get right into this interview. Guillen, you chose this interview, and why did you choose it, and can you just give a little bit of a summary on what it was about?
Well, Garb, the topic itself is quite interesting. It's deceiving self-honesty. So I think it's a interesting interview. First of all, I don't want to talk about the interview itself. I think that everyone should get the interview and hear about it for themselves on the interview. I would like to talk about the points that I realized for myself and share those points, and perhaps other people can have the same realizations through listening to the interview. It's not an interview that is like, amazing, but it opens up an interesting point that is very sneaky, I can say. And, how do you add the word deceiving in or next to self-honesty? That's like the first thing that you should look at is like, what? How do you deceive something that's supposed to be self-honest? And this brings me to the topic of what I've realized for myself with listening to this interview and seeing how the mind, as our tool that we have, this piece of software up here, how interestingly enough, it is so easy to deceive ourselves. It is so easy to manipulate ourselves. It is so easy to make anything out of anything, even self-honesty, even at one point that you're supposed to trust or rely on in this world to guide you, to be a compass. Like, I can trust myself because I'm self-honest. So let's have a look at how do you deceive that, and how do you then ever trust yourself again? If you take a listen to the interview, and you'll find out about the father and how he used the point of a child in his life and how he deceived his self-honesty in that, then you can look for yourself in your own life. How are you in small moments seeing something or having a cool point of self-honesty, but then you twist it, you deceive it, you mislead yourself within that point to live something else, regardless of your self-honesty. But you will justify, you will reason, you use logic, you use a lot of things in your life to say, look, this is why I'm doing this, because yeah, self-honesty, that is what it's telling me to do. But it's how we're deceiving our self-honesty. So for me, it opened up the point of how much further I have to walk in my process, and how much more I have to be disciplined within my process, and within understanding myself and understanding how do I deceive myself. Because if I can't even see I'm deceiving myself, even when I think I'm being self-honest, then there's a massive problem.
Mm.
You know, how many of us walk during the day thinking we're living self-honest now? I'm being honest with myself. And in the meantime, you're just deceiving yourself, but you're trusting that. So here I'm going to use a couple of my own living experiences to show how I have deceived self-honesty. And does that mean that I have ever actually developed self-honesty? Or am I still on the learning curve of understanding that 100%?
Hmm. Cool. And let's just first start with just giving a little bit of understanding of what self-honesty is. Like, what does that mean, self-honesty?
Okay, so a general thing is self-honesty sounds very simple, right? I mean, we all understand
Yeah.
honesty, and then we think of self. So what is this self and what is this honesty? Because now you're putting two things together, correct? So let's look at self. What is self? Okay, that can open up a whole new hangout just looking at what is self. So self is who you are. It's who you are as the mind, body, and soul, if you want to call it that. It's who you are in your words, your deeds, and your thoughts. That's the self that is living. Now, when you're looking at honesty as we currently understand in the world, when you steal or when you uh, cheat or when you do something bad in this world or when you have an opinion in this world or you have a belief in this world, we think it's honest to express that. You know, to say, yes, I stole something. Yes, I cheated. Yes, I am religious. Yes, I am this and that, you know, to voice our thoughts, to voice our feelings, to voice our emotions. That is honesty. It's to say, when you hate someone, you can go up to them and say, hey, I hate you. Ah, I'm being honest. Okay, so now you feel good about yourself, but in that process, you hurt someone else because you were voicing your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions. So we go back to now putting these two words together, self and honesty. We have to look at self. If you exist as a mind, a body, and a being, okay, then which part of this self is the real self and which part is then the honest self? So if you can admit or see for yourself that you are a mind, a body, and a being, then obviously you are the being, but you're more than the being as well. You're also the body and you're also the mind. But now you have to understand that the mind isn't who you are as the being. The body isn't who you are as the being. So when you voice your thoughts, feelings, or emotions, you're not voicing yourself. You're voicing software. You're voicing programs. You're voicing things that were taught to you. You're voicing experiences that you've interpreted. You are voicing points of views of your life that you have created an opinion about. It's not actual facts. So when you are being honest with yourself, you see that. You realize that, okay, my thoughts, my feelings, and emotions cannot be trusted. Yet I trust them. I'm telling myself, oh, yes, I hate that person. So I'm going to go and tell them I hate them. Now I'm being honest with that person. But if we're honest with ourselves, we realize that these thoughts, these feelings, these emotions aren't who we are. They are purely brainwashed, programmed systems running in the background through how we have interpreted reality or how we were taught reality works. So if we're self-honest about that and understanding that, we can go even deeper. Now we can look at, okay, cool. If I have to be honest with myself, then I look, I say I hate that person, but where does it come from? How did I get to hate that person? Do I really hate that person? Or am I looking at something that someone taught me? Or am I looking at a preference of people or people that I like, that my mom used to like or my dad used to like? So with self-honesty, you go deeper and deeper into finding out who's the real self, which is you as the being. And then you realize that you as the being, for example, is all life, one and equal, no judgment. And therefore, you are honestly not actually hating that person. You honestly don't actually hate anything. You know, hating is just a program, it's just brainwashing, mind control. So, your self honesty is where you go a step further to understanding the real self, which is you as all life, one and equal. And any thought, feeling, or emotion that tells you anything different, such as a judgment or separation in fear, then you know that that is not real. So self-honesty is to become that point of trust where you trust your breath, where you trust your physical movement, your physical reality, and not the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, and all the other things that come up in your life that wants to redirect you or take you to a different route and controlling you and putting you into moods and giving you voices and giving you pictures and imaginations and fantasies. That's not you. That is software, programs running, and you as the self are either going to accept and allow it or you're going to stop it and get self-honest. And you're going to look at, why are they coming up? Why are they existing? Why are they here? What are they reflecting about me? What is this hate towards this person, for example, showing about me? What if I accept and allowed about myself to hate someone? You know, so that's for example, a point of how you have to look at self-honesty. And I cannot tell anyone what is self-honesty. You have to discover that for yourself, because you have to walk a process. You have to understand, first of all, the body, the mind, and the being. You need to understand what is thoughts, what is feelings, what is emotions. You need to understand what is the mind consciousness system, what is the conscious, subconscious, unconscious mind. You have to understand physical reality. You have to go through a learning process of getting to understand, and through self-forgiveness. Self-forgiveness is the key in all of this, where you take everything in this world back to self, back to who am I, back to self-responsibility, and then you will find your self-honesty, hopefully. And yeah, that's what I can give for now on self-honesty and how I have seen it and walked it. Obviously, with my development of self-honesty and pushing myself, what supported and assisted me a lot was working within a certain principle. And this principle is the guideline by which I always stand no matter what. And that principle is to always live what is best for all life, and to stop separation, to stop fear, to stop projection, to stop blame, and to take full self-responsibility for everything in existence that I can in every single moment as who I am.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that. And just to kind of reiterate a little bit of what Guillen was discussing more in a way of structure, the Destiny group, what me and Guillen have been part of, and many other people are walking a process, and all these things that Guillen just spoke about, all the different aspects of this process that we're walking to become self-honest within yourself, is structured in a specific process. So it's out there. It's able to be walked in a way where it's, you know, you walk it step by step. You learn step by step. It's also a self-learning point. So you have to take responsibility for yourself and become self-honest. Do this for yourself. So it's not like someone is going to come hold your hand and walk with you. Well, there are buddy supports and stuff, but yeah, there's plenty of support here, but you yourself have to take the step to become self-honest, to understand what self-honesty means, and to find that self-honesty within you, so you are able to establish it and then develop it within yourself. So you could eventually see, okay, I'm being deceptive here, I'm being dishonest, and move back to, okay, I want to become self-honest within myself. What do I have to do to become self-honest? And then there's the tools that are in this process, the Destiny I process, to support you to become more self-honest. So it's the self-forgiveness, understanding why you were deceptive. So this is all like a process that is walked, and it helps develop this self-honesty within you, so you yourself can recognize it, understand it, and develop within it. And you just keep walking this process, and you open up more and more, and you get deeper within yourself and your mind, and challenge yourself and things like that to live these principles that is based on the Destiny I process and what Guillen shared, the doing what is best for all life, living this as a principle within your life. And when you veer off and become deceptive, you kind of realize, okay, I need to get back to who I am as life here. What do I have to do to change myself to get back to life? So yeah, it's a process, and it's structured, and there is definitely a lot of support out there to help you to develop your self-honesty.
Why do we want to develop our self-honesty? I think that's the question that people might ask. Like,
cool.
Okay, why do I want self-honesty? I've been doing just fine being honest. That's a good question. That's a good question. I'll give you that, because being honest feels empowering. You can just say what the fuck you want. You can just go, oh, I don't like you. This is my opinion. I believe in this. I am a racist. I am this. I am a Democrat. I am a Republican. Being honest is just like spewing out your opinions and believing that you are now so powerful and you are so empowered. But in fact, how many are we harming? See, this is where I'm coming to. Why do we want to be self-honest, and why we have to be self-honest instead of being honest? And here I'm going to give you the difference between what each one consists of. Being honest is living in the now. You're living in the now. Being self-honest is living in the here. It's where you can hear. It's when you're here. So living in the now is where you act in the moment, only considering yourself, only your experience, your blissfulness, your happiness. The now is like an energetic charged moment where you decide how you want to experience yourself, and you act on it regardless of everyone and everything else. The here-ness is your self-honesty. It's where you consider here. What is here as all life? You're considering poverty, war, famine. You're considering every country, every child, every woman, every man. You're considering your actions that has in fact an impact on everything of life. So you cannot just act in the now, blissfully living your honesty, because you now realize that you have in fact a responsibility to life within every action that you take. And that is living with self-honesty, is where you consider your actions has side effects, as side outflows. You consider your words affecting not just you, but everyone around you. You start considering what is here and what is your actual impact on reality. So this is the difference between honesty and self-honesty. Honesty is living in the now, where you only care about you. You only care about your feelings, your thoughts, your opinions, your beliefs, your ideas, your life, your happiness. You only care about your emotional state. The here-ness in self-honesty is where you consider every animal, plant, the ocean, the earth, the universe. You consider that you are life. And therefore, you cannot just accept and allow every thought, feeling, and emotion to direct you. You cannot just accept every word that wants to spew out of your mouth. You have to actually check, where does it come from? Why does it exist? What is the implications of these thoughts, feelings, emotions? And does my actions, if I act upon them? And how did I get to this? Okay, because it in fact impacts your life in the long run. It impacts your life. If you act in the now, you might feel good for now, but you're not going to feel good once you realize at the end of the line that all life on earth is doomed and there's no future for your children. because all you cared about was you and your honesty and how you feel. So let's start caring about life. How does all of life feel as a whole? And you will find your self honesty is that these thoughts, feelings, and emotions are not real because they're only about me. They're not about life, which is actually what matters. You know, you aren't, this isn't a one man show. No one is a one man show here. We're all on the same planet, the same plane. And if one person messes up in that plane, we're going to crash, you know, and we're going to be in big shit. So you have to consider before you act on your thoughts, feelings, or emotions, how's it going to affect this plane? How's it going to affect the altitude? How high we go, how low we go? Where can we live, where can we not? And I got to this because of a recent event where I decided to go out with a friend, all right? We're staying on a farm. In a moment's notice, I say, hey, you and me, let's go out and have some fun for tonight, okay? And we went out, but we left the dogs at the house alone with no one, okay? We left another house with two people that cannot look after, for example, the animals alone. Because I thought, hey, here's a thought. I just had a thought that me and this guy should hang out and, you know, fuck the whole world. Let's go out and enjoy the night. You know, what harm can there be? And in the meantime, we had dogs that is chasing cats. They're all alone at the home. They're going crazy. They don't know what's happening. There's no one looking after them. The doors are wide open. People can break in. You know, this is South Africa. You live on a farm where you cannot leave. The house is just unchecked with no one in it. So me living in the now moment, I brought consequences out, not only for the animals, but the people that is on the property with me, and also for the property itself. And that's because I was living in the moment. I was living in the now. And I just had to follow this thought. And I pulled the other person with me into this thought. And I sold them the thought. I sold them, hey, look at this. It is Saturday night. You know, if we don't do this now, we're never going to do it because we've never done it before. So let's do it right now. Okay. And so we get in the car and we go out. And we came back hours later. We felt happy, but everyone else was in a state of stress and anxiety because we didn't notify them. We didn't let them know fully on what's happening. So how did I get to do that? I deceived myself honesty through taking the thought that came up and thought, hey, I'm going to be spontaneous. You know, let's live the word spontaneous. Let's just do this. You know, and what happened in that moment was I didn't slow down. I didn't consider where this thought come from. Yes, I can be spontaneous, but then I have to arrange things properly. I have to talk to people and communicate with people properly. I have to inform my reality of the actions that I want to take, which I didn't do because I was in the now. I was in the moment. I was only thinking about myself. I was only thinking about my experience. And then I dragged the other person into it, and off we shoot into the darkness. No one else knows really what's going on. And because we were busy, no one could reach us on the phones. No one could reach us on messages. And we were just enjoying ourselves. And yeah, we came back and we were happy. But now we had all these angry faces looking at us going, where were you? What were you doing? And I was like, what do you mean? We just went out. You know, it's innocent. But if you look at the energy, if you look at the thought, how many times in our life do we have this of, I'm just going to follow this thought without thinking, considering the actual reality, the actual impact of our actions. And this accumulated because one specific thought came up that I used as a justification, which was, you know, I haven't gone out for years because I live on a farm. You know, I'm a farmer. I don't go out much. So I said, let's do this tonight. Okay, let's just do this tonight. And that one thought, because it looked justifiable, it looked good, it looked reasonable. When I came in front and in confrontation with other people, I realized that thought did not stand in the physical. Everyone could easily debunk that thought that looked so righteous in my mind. It looked so self-honest. It looked so real, like, oh yeah, I can follow this. Look at all the justifications. It makes sense. Oh yes, I can do this. Look at all the practical reasons. But these practical reasons were only fitting my now moment, my self-interest of how I was feeling. And what was behind that? Why did I do that? Why did I go with this high positive energy outing suddenly? Was because deep down there is actually a kind of a depression, a suppression. So here a whole new point opened up for me, because now I had to look at how was I able to deceive myself honestly? What was hidden inside of myself that I could deceive myself to such an extent that I completely disregarded physical reality? So here I saw that actually what was motivating all this positive, now living the moment stuff was a very negative point that has been accumulating for a long time without me ever looking at it, just suppressing and denying, suppressing and denying. And this one moment was like, boom, just bringing it out, which was me deceiving myself honesty, which also opened up that I haven't been actually 100%. Well, I would say just not self-honest with myself, because I don't see there is a middle road. To me, it's either you're self-honest or not. So I can't say, oh, I wasn't 100% self-honest. Self-honesty is something we have to develop, and then you stand by it once you have it. So until we have it, I always say I don't have it until I have it. And I don't know when I'll have it. I'll just keep walking, 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 walking. Self-forgiveness, self-forgiveness, learning, learning. And yeah, these things occur, as I just explained, me going out with this one person spontaneously, and how I deceived that moment as me living, as me being alive, as me having fun, as me giving me time. But I wasn't considering reality. I was just living in the me time, the self-interest time. So yeah, I haven't
Yeah,
done that much.
and it's
And
important. Oh, I just wanted to add one more point. It's important to realize that you could have been spontaneous. You could have gone out, had fun. It's not like you can't do those things, but through that energetic reaction that you had to be spontaneous, to have fun, there was like a feeling with that, which you kind of just
yeah,
followed instead of actually
exactly.
slowing down, being self-honest, and considering, okay, I gotta actually plan this out now. Like I can't just bounce. I gotta make sure the dogs are all right. I'm responsible for this, 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 and this, and I have to take care of my responsibilities. And yeah, that principle of doing what's best for all life that's a responsibility point. So it's key to understand the magnitude of this process that is being walked, because we're talking not only our current living in the moment now, we're talking about who we are in our thoughts, who we are, how we're creating ourselves in the back of our heads, like what we think about alone. And all of that is generating energy within us. The feelings we have, the anger and the happiness and the spontaneity, these are all being generated and created through our mind, through thoughts. And this new being self-honest is like a way to ground yourself in your reality, to be able to see what you're doing eventually. Using self-honesty as like a key grounding point for yourself to, okay, get back to stability, get back to groundedness, and then, all right, what did I just do there? What happened? And, use the information to change and make yourself better, so to speak. So, yeah. Any other points you want to add, Gian? I know I kind of interrupted you.
No, that was kind of it. Just gave that experience.
cool.
Was that a train?
Yeah, there's a train right next to us. All right, let's continue on. So, what kind of tools do you use to support yourself? Like, what kind of, okay, so what did you do to correct this point with the spontaneity, and just to kind of share like what you walked to be able to correct it, and people can see through an example of how to do that.
Okay, so after such an event, obviously, my environment, the physical reality, gives you feedback. And after the feedback, which was obviously, you know, the consequences, not just for myself, but for everyone involved, uh, what I do is I reflect back on myself. I don't just shove it off and go, this is just who I am, this is my personality. I'm a bad boy. People should get used to it. I'm gonna do shit like this. I then just go into that's my usual programming. In the past, I used to be like that. I used to mess up. I used to do stuff, and then I would just justify it with this is who I am. You know, People either enjoy it or not. They either get with me or not, and then I move on with my life. But ever since I have started listening to Eqafe interviews, the portal, walking my process of destiny, my DIP, and the tools I developed, the principle I've walked by, when I get feedback like that, I do not accept and allow anything that harms anyone else with inside of myself. This is the first step. If there's harm, if there's abuse, I stop it. I take responsibility. How do I do that? I look at my actions. I look at what came before the actions. What was the input? And that's what was the output. So this is where I go to writing. I write down the event. I write down what happened. And within that, I can look at the past events. So I will start writing down self-forgiveness. So the self-forgiveness will be, I forgive myself that I've accepted and allowed myself to, when and as this feeling comes, feeling highly motivated to just go out right now and not lose the moment and to not lose the feeling, I stop, slow down, I take a breath, and I check for myself, what is behind this? Why am I feeling so highly energetic? And then I'll continue writing my self-forgiveness line by line. I forgive myself that I've accepted and allowed myself. And this way you'd kind of dig into the initial thought you had. I mean, if you had a thought of, I want to go out. Okay, where did that thought come from? Now you look behind it. Oh, I've been feeling stuck for weeks or months. That's actually what's behind the feeling of I want to go out. You've been feeling stuck, so you're looking at a polarity existence. Then you go into why have you been feeling stuck? Okay? And now you see, oh, you've been blaming the people in your environment, you've been blaming your environment, you've been blaming your time, your schedule, your work, you've been blaming everything. Now you look at why have you been blaming everything? Oh, you feel insecure. Oh, okay. So your insecurity has led you to interpreting your environment to be blamed. So now you're going really back to the core of why has your environment been affecting you is because you have not looked at a point of insecurity inside of yourself in relation to participating in your environment with the people. So you have been not participating and feeling that everyone is against you only because you have an insecurity of interacting or participating. So now you're blaming everyone instead of checking what is your experience that is making that you're accepting, allowing to decide for you how you are going to interact. So this is where you go deeper and deeper through writing out self-forgiveness. Then, for example, you can go far back as when I was 6 years old, I realized when I was in my environment, my mom always told me, no, stop it, don't do that, leave it, Go away. Be quiet. Stop it. Don't touch that. Go sit in the corner. Hey, no. Stop. 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 No. 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 So now you're going back to childhood years, and you look at, whoa, that is how I was raised. I was a very lively person. I was a very lively kid, but my parents just kept telling me, no, 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 no. So throughout my childhood, I started telling myself, no, 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 which is my mom's voice or my dad's voice that has become my own voice. So here I'm living my life with my mom and dad's voice as my own voice in my head. And I just keep telling myself, no, 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 no. So what have I started doing within that is I started making my environment to be blamed. I started making the things in the environment to be blamed because it's always a no for me. It's always a no, no, no. But now you go even deeper, okay? Why did your parents always have to tell you no? Why did they always have to scream at you and tell you, don't do that 10 times before you didn't do it? So now you're looking at, was there something else that you didn't understand about yourself when you were 6 years old? Were you already spiteful? Were you already nasty or mean? And instead of working with the people in your environment, instead of coming to an agreement with the people in your environment, you were fighting, you were resisting, you were uprising, you were creating riots. So now you're looking at a core program that if you listen to Eqafe interviews, the reptilians and the Atlanteans, you will understand that there's programs in us that has been running for a very, very long time. And we are not just natural expressing beings. Our physical bodies and everything has been designed to be an enslavement system. So when we're born, we are not perfect. We're literally born with predetermined, pre-designed physical bodies that is meant to encompass a mind that is meant to direct and take control of our lives, the systems. And us, the being, is enslaved to this design. So here you have to go even deeper to look at yourself and why you accept and allowed the mind and the body to define you. Why did we accept and allow everything in our existence to define us? When did we ever decide who we are going to be? So this is how I support myself, is through walking backwards after looking at the current event. So every event opens up a pathway for me to my programming, to my functioning, to why I do things. And this is where I start developing my self-honesty to check and to see and understand myself first and foremost. And thus how I live and why I live what I do. So a lot of writing, a lot of self-forgiveness, and I use the Eqafe products obviously as a support. This is how we got to this interview, which is the Seeing Self-Honesty. And for how long in my life have I been doing this, where I deceive myself in moments that after being a good person for years, then suddenly I just mess things up, boom. And everyone in my reality goes, whoa, what's happening with Gian? Why did he do this? This isn't unlike you. So I make a sudden decision of deceiving myself honesty, and it's like an explosion. So here I go back to my childhood years, and I realize that I've always been the same. Even now at 27, I proclaim that this is a unique me. This is who I am. It's not. I never had a choice. I've been acting this way without knowing it since I was 3 years old. So let's look at what else is going on. What else is controlling me? What else is directing me that I'm just accepting and allowing the whole time to be me? Because I'm being honest. I'm not being self-honest. I'm living in the now. So this is the tools I use. Then, after I do my self-forgiveness in my writing, I correct myself in checking myself every day. Because now I understand through the writing how I built myself up to that moment of deceiving myself honesty. So if I wake up the next day and I see, there's a little bit of a depression again, or there's a little bit of a suppression there, or in moments of interacting with people, or in moments of being active in my environment, I can check, am I suppressing right now? Am I denying? am I avoiding? What am I doing that's going to, because now I know it's going to accumulate. In 4 months, I already forgot about this point, and suddenly there's another spontaneous moment, and I act on it as if I'm dumb and I never knew this. And, you know, so it's about being aware of yourself, getting to know thyself, getting to understand yourself so that you can see where's the potholes. So when those moments come, you can dodge the pothole. You don't drive into it, because then you need damage control. Your car will get a little bit damaged until eventually your car is worn out, you're worn out, and some major stuff has to happen in your life for actual change to take place if you're not going to change yourself.
Yeah, that's a cool point. And yeah, it's like our default program is basically these emotions, these energies, and these behaviors that are destructive in many ways. So we're using, like, the physical, what we say about being physical is like actually physically walking these steps to get yourself to understand who you are within these kind of events that Gian just spoke out. So the physical is like a support in our reality, because it is reality. And we can deceive ourselves so much through our minds by just following the energies, following the thoughts, following the different things that come up. And if you don't use self-honesty in these moments, you are just following and you see what gets created. I mean, you're not considering what's going on around you. You're only considering your needs within you, the wanting to fulfill desires and getting angry at people over here because you're in blame towards them. So the writing process is very key to ground yourself and do the physical actions, because as you physically write it out, you are integrating it as well. You're learning about yourself. You're understanding yourself within that. And it's not going to easily go away because you're actually physically looking at it and understanding it and doing it. So it's very supportive to do the writing and to walk out the forgiveness, to see who you are within that, because it does support you in those next times to come to, okay, I'm following a thought now. I know where that thought's going to go. And so I'm going to stop it now. I'm going to live a new way that is best, that is considering people. And that's how we change ourselves to be life, to be better, better human beings here. So, and align ourselves to what is best for our life. So Gian, thanks for your sharing. Do you have any, it's getting pretty late, do you have any closing comments or anything that we've discussed, or anything you want to share?
I don't have anything more to share, Gar. I think I spoke a lot. Okay. If anyone has questions, they can leave comments on the video afterwards, and we will redirect them to an Eqafe product, because there's over 4,000 actually now on Eqafe.
Cool.
Topics on almost people would like, I can just type in something, or I can just ask and I can find it. Skull over, what does this mean? How do I understand this? There's almost anything and everything there. And that's what I enjoy the most about Eqafe, for example. I don't have to go and spend years of learning something. Just search it, find it, listen to 30 minutes of interview, and you got it. Like this deceiving self-honesty.
Yeah, it's very it's very substantial, Eqafe. Okay, so Guillen, thank you so much for sharing your experiences, your realizations, and your self-honesty within this point you walked, and we appreciate it. I appreciate you being here. Have a good night.
Thank you very much, Garb. I appreciate you for inviting me and having to hang out with you.
Cool.
Enjoy the rest of your night too.
Thank you. And thanks everyone for being here. If you do have any comments or questions for us, you can leave them on the comments section, and we will certainly give support and Eqafe interviews if needed. So thank you, and see you next time.